The cry for help, the signal came. Through the void like a whisper in a storm, Captain Marcus Chin stood on the bridge of the S horizon, watching the strange transmission flicker across the main display. His crew had been on a routine patrol mission through the outer territories when their communications array picked up something nobody expected. "Captain, you need to hear this," Lieutenant Sarah Park said from the communication station. Her voice carried an edge of urgency that made everyone on the bridge turn their attention to her. Marcus moved closer as Sarah played the transmission. Static filled the air at first, then a voice broke through. It was soft, melodic, but laced with unmistakable fear. The translation matrix worked quickly, converting the alien language into something they could understand. "This is Elder Severa of R Prime. Our world is under attack. We have no weapons. We have no defenses. They destroy our cities and take our people. If anyone can hear this message, please help us. We are dying." The bridge fell silent. Marcus felt something tighten in his chest. 20 years in the Earth Defense Fleet had taught him to keep emotions in check, but this was different. This was someone asking for help, reaching out across the endless dark, hoping someone would answer. "How far away are they?" Marcus asked. Sarah checked her instruments. "Approximately 4 light years, sir. The Vela system. I'm pulling up what we have in the database." Information flooded the main screen. The Valari were a peaceful species, herbivorous by nature, with a civilization built on art, philosophy, and scientific exploration. They had made first contact with the galactic community about 200 years ago. Their world was beautiful, covered in vast forests and crystal clear oceans. They had no standing military, only civil security forces meant to handle minor disputes. "Who's attacking them?" Marcus asked. Lieutenant James Rodriguez, the tactical officer, pulled up additional data. "The Quarian Dominion. Sir, they're an aggressive expansionist empire from the outer reach, heavy gravity world, carnivorous species. They've been conquering independent systems for the past 50 years. Marcus studied the information. The Quarians were formidable. Their warriors were bred for combat, standing nearly 3 m tall with thick armored hides. Their technology was advanced, their ships powerful. They took what they wanted and left nothing but ashes behind. "Captain, with respect, this isn't our jurisdiction," Commander David Walsh said. He was the Horizon's executive officer, a veteran who had served in the border wars. "Earth Command hasn't authorized intervention in non-aligned systems." Marcus knew David was right. Humanity had only been part of the galactic community for 40 years. Most alien species still viewed humans with suspicion. Earth was classified as a death world, a planet so dangerous that its dominant species had evolved into something most aliens found terrifying. Humans were stronger, faster, more aggressive than the majority of space-faring civilizations. The galactic powers preferred to keep humanity at arm's length. "Send the transmission to Earth Command," Marcus ordered. "Let them know we've received a distress call and are requesting instructions." The response came back 3 hours later. Admiral Catherine Wright appeared on the screen from Earth Command headquarters. She was in her 60s with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. "Captain Shenweave reviewed the situation. The Valari distress call has been received by multiple vessels, but nobody is Responding, the Galactic Council has declared this an internal matter. They're advising all ships to stay clear of the Aura system. Marcus felt anger rising but kept his voice level. Admiral, these people are asking for help. We can't just ignore them. Council believes intervention would set a dangerous precedent. They say the Quarians will withdraw once they've taken what they want. And what do they want? Admiral, to strip the planet bare, to enslave the population. Wright was quiet. For a moment, Marcus could see the conflict on her face. She was a soldier. Same as him, she understood what it meant to answer a call for help. Officially, Earth Command cannot authorize you to enter that system. Wright said slowly, however, I'm also not ordering you to leave the area. If your ship happens to experience navigation difficulties that result in your arrival at Velara Prime, well, these things happen in deep space. Marcus understood. The Admiral was giving him permission without saying the words. If things went wrong, she would take the blame. If things went right, humanity would have made a statement too. The galaxy understood. Admiral, we'll proceed with extreme caution, Captain Chin, Wright said before ending the transmission. Show them what humans are capable of. Show them why they should never underestimate us. Marcus turned to his crew. Every face on the bridge was watching him, waiting for orders. These were good people, trained and dedicated. They had families back on Earth, lives they wanted to return to, but Marcus also knew that every single one of them had joined the defense fleet for a reason. They believed in something bigger than themselves. Lieutenant Park, plot a course to the Aura system. Maximum speed. Yes, sir, Commander. Walsh, I want all combat systems ready. Run full diagnostics on weapons and shields. Rodriguez, start analyzing everything we know about Quarian tactics and technology. Captain Dr. Emily Chin spoke up from her station. She was the ship's medical officer, and despite sharing his last name, no relation to Marcus. What about the crew? Some of them might not want to risk their lives for people we don't know. Marcus nodded. Put out a shipwide announcement. Everyone on board should know what we're doing and why. Anyone who objects can note their concerns in the log, but we're going to help these people. The Horizon jumped to faster than light speed, crossing the distance to Var Prime in 3 days. During that time, Marcus studied everything available about both the Velari and the Quarians. He watched videos of Vari culture, saw their beautiful cities built in harmony with nature. He read reports about Quarian conquests, saw images of devastated worlds left in their wake. He also spent time with his crew, making sure everyone understood the risks. To his surprise and pride, not a single person objected. Some were nervous, some were excited, but all were determined. We didn't join the fleet to run away from fights, Lieutenant Rodriguez said during one briefing. Besides, somebody needs to show these Quarians that they can't just bully whoever they want. When the Horizon dropped out of faster than light travel at the edge of the Velara system, the situation was worse than Marcus had imagined. 8 Quarian battle cruisers orbited the planet, each one twice the size of his ship. They were bombarding the surface with energy weapons, destroying infrastructure, and terrorizing the population. Captain, I'm picking up massive devastation on the surface, Sarah reported. Multiple cities are in ruins. I'm detecting thousands of life signs in underground shelters. Any Sign they've detected us. Not yet, sir. We came in behind the system's outer moon. We have maybe 10 minutes before their sensors pick us up. Marcus made a decision. Open a channel to the planet surface. Let's see if we can reach this. Elder Savara, the connection took a minute to establish. When the screen cleared, Marcus saw his first Valari. Elder Savara was tall and slender, with pale blue skin and large expressive eyes. She wore robes of deep green, though they were torn and dirty. Behind her, Marcus could see frightened faces, huddled in what looked like a shelter carved from stone. This is Captain Marcus Chin of the Earth vessel Horizon. We received your distress call, Elder Savara. We're here to help. Savara's eyes widened with disbelief. You came. Someone actually came. We came. Tell me about your situation. How many people are in shelters? What kind of defenses do you have? We have nearly 2 million people hiding underground across the planet. Our security forces tried to resist at first, but they had no chance against the Quarian warriors. We have no weapons, Captain. We never needed them before. We thought the galaxy was a peaceful place. Marcus felt a pang of sympathy. The Valari had believed the best of others, and now they were paying the price. Elder, I need you to keep your people safe in those shelters. My ship is going to engage the Quarian fleet. It's going to get loud up here. But don't lose hope, Captain. You have one ship, they have 8. You cannot possibly win this fight. Marcus smiled grimly. Elder, humans come from a world that tried to kill us every single day. For millions of years, we evolved, fighting predators, surviving disasters, and never giving up. These Quarians are about to learn why the galaxy calls us Death Holders. Before Savara could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Captain, the Quarian fleet has detected us, Rodriguez announced. They're moving to intercept. All hands to battle stations, Marcus ordered. Let's show them what the Horizon can do. A massive face appeared on the screen. This was a Quarian, and Marcus immediately understood why they were feared. Commander Draxus had dark, armored skin, powerful jaws filled with sharp teeth, and eyes that burned with predatory intelligence. Human vessel, you have entered a Quarian military operation zone. Leave immediately or be destroyed. This is Captain Marcus Chin. These people asked for help. I'm here to provide it. You're the ones who need to leave. Draxus laughed, a harsh sound that echoed through the bridge speakers. One small human ship against my battle fleet. You are either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. I will give you this one chance to flee. After that, I will add your wreckage to the debris orbiting this pathetic world. I don't run from bullies, Marcus said calmly. Last chance, Commander. Take your ships and leave this system. Draxus' expression changed from amusement to rage. Very well, human. You will die with honor. At least all ships destroy them. The 8 Quarian battle cruisers turned toward the Horizon, weapons powering up. Energy signatures spiked across the tactical display as they prepared to fire. Marcus looked at his crew. Every one of them was at their station, ready to fight. Rodriguez, prepare evasive maneuvers. Park, get ready to jam their targeting systems. Walsh, coordinate point defense systems. When they fire, I want every shot they take to miss, sir, even if we die. Their first volley, we can't fight 8 ships, Walsh said. We're not going to fight 8 ships, Marcus replied. We're going to fight smart. Humans didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being the biggest or strongest. We became dominant by being adaptable, creative, and absolutely refusing to give up. The Korean ships opened fire. Simultaneously, space erupted with energy beams and plasma torpedoes, all converging on the tiny human vessel. Evasive maneuvers now, Marcus shouted. The horizon twisted through space with impossible agility. Human ships were designed differently than most alien vessels, where others relied on shields and armor to absorb hits. Human engineers had focused on speed and maneuverability. The horizon moved like a fighter jet rather than a battleship. Weapons fire passed through empty space, where the ship had been milliseconds before. Out of 200 shots, only 5 connected, and the horizon's ablative armor absorbed most of the damage. Return fire. Rodriguez, target the lead ship sensor array. The horizon's rail guns fired. These weapons used electromagnetic force to launch solid projectiles at tremendous velocity. Korthians had never encountered this type of weapon before. Their shields were designed to deflect energy, not solid matter. The metal slugs punched through the lead battle cruiser's shields and tore apart its primary sensor array. The massive ship suddenly went blind, its targeting systems offline. Direct hit. Captain Rodriguez shouted. Good, now target ship 2. Same strategy, take out their sensors and communications. If they can't see us and they can't coordinate, they can't fight effectively. The horizon danced through space, dodging incoming fire and striking back with surgical precision. Marcus had studied the Korean tactics. During the journey here, they relied on overwhelming firepower and coordinated attacks. Take away their coordination, and they became vulnerable. One by one, the horizon disabled the sensors on 3 more Koran ships. Commander Draxus screamed orders at his fleet, but the humans were too fast, too unpredictable. Every time the Korthians tried to surround the horizon, it slipped away and struck from a different angle. Captain, I'm picking up massive energy readings from the planet's surface, Sarah suddenly announced. Marcus looked at the display. The Korean ground forces were preparing to fire on the civilian shelters. They're going after the civilians, Walsh said. If we don't stop them, millions will die. Marcus made his decision instantly. Rodriguez, launch all our atmospheric-capable drones. I want them on the surface in 3 minutes. Target every Korean position threatening those shelters, sir. If we launch our drones, will have no defense against fighters, Walsh warned. Then we better make sure they don't launch fighters. Marcus replied. Park, I need you to hack into the Korean communication network. Upload the virus package from our tactical database. Sarah's fingers flew across her console. Captain, breaking into their network would be an act of cyber warfare. We could face serious repercussions. We're already in a shooting war, Lieutenant. I think we're past worrying about repercussions. 3 minutes later, human drones streamed atmosphere. They were small, fast, and equipped with precision weapons. Korean ground forces never knew what hit them. The drones struck with devastating accuracy, destroying weapon imp placements and forcing the warriors to take cover in the shelters. Elder Savara and her people listened to the battle raging above and around them. They heard explosions, felt the ground shake, but the attacks on their shelters had stopped. The humans are protecting us, Savara whispered. One ship against An entire fleet, and they're protecting us. Back in space, Commander Draxus watched his perfect military operation fall apart. The human ship was impossible to hit. His ground forces were under attack, and now his ship systems were going haywire. What is happening? He roared at his crew. Sir, we've been infected with some kind of computer virus. It's spreading through our network. Systems are failing across the fleet. Draxus felt fear for the first time in his military career. These humans fought like nothing he had ever encountered. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but somehow they were winning. All ships retreat to minimum safe distance. We need to purge our systems and regroup. The Quarian fleet pulled back, giving the Horizon a moment to breathe. Marcus watched them go, knowing this was only a temporary respite. Damage report. He ordered minor hull damage, shields at 60%. No casualties. Walsh reported. Captain, we hurt them, but they're going to come back, and they're going to be ready for our tricks next time. Marcus nodded. He had bought time, maybe a few hours, but the fight wasn't over. He opened a channel to the planet. Elder Savara, you and your people are safe for now, but I need you to listen carefully. Help is coming, but we need to hold out a little longer. How can more help come? You said you only had one ship. Marcus smiled. I said my ship was alone. I never said humanity wouldn't send more. I transmitted our situation to Earth Command the moment we arrived. The cavalry is already on its way. In the shelters of Valera Prime, hope bloomed. For the first time in weeks, the humans had come. They were fighting, and they weren't giving up. The Death World response. Commander Draxus stood on the bridge of his flagship, staring at the tactical display with growing frustration. His fleet had pulled back to regroup, and his engineers were working frantically to purge the human virus from their systems. In all his years of conquest, he had never encountered an enemy like this. Status report. Draxus demanded. His second in command, a scarred veteran named Krellel, approached cautiously. Commander, we have restored primary systems on 6 ships. 2 are still experiencing difficulties. The virus was more sophisticated than anything we have encountered. It targeted our coordination protocols specifically, and the human ship still maintaining position between us and the planet. They have launched defensive satellites around the civilian shelters. Our ground forces cannot approach without being destroyed. Draxus slammed his fist against the console. This is unacceptable. They are one ship with a crew of perhaps 200. We have 8 battle cruisers and 10,000 warriors. How are they holding us off? Krellel hesitated before speaking. Commander, I have studied the humans since this battle began. They fight differently than any species we have faced. They do not rely on superior numbers or firepower. They adapt constantly, exploit every weakness, and refuse to surrender even when logic says they should. You sound afraid of them, Draxus said coldly. I am cautious of them. Commander, there is a difference. The galactic community calls their world Death World for good reason. Everything on their planet evolved to survive in conditions that would kill most of us. These are not soft prey species like the Valari. These are apex predators who learn to work together. Draxus considered this. He had heard stories about Earth, about the incredible dangers that existed there. Massive predators, violent weather, diseases That could wipe out entire populations. The humans had survived all of it and thrived. Perhaps that was why this single ship was giving him so much trouble. It does not matter, Draxus finally said. We have them outnumbered. Once our systems are fully restored, we will overwhelm them through sheer force. Prepare for a coordinated assault. Every ship fires simultaneously. They cannot dodge everything aboard the Horizon. Captain Marcus Chen was buying time. However he could, he knew his ship could not hold out indefinitely. The Korthians would eventually adapt to his tactics, and when they did, the Horizon would be in serious trouble. Captain. Incoming transmission from Earth. Command, Lieutenant Park announced. Admiral Wright appeared on the screen. And this time she was smiling. Captain Chen, I hope you are still in one piece. Barely, Admiral. We have managed to keep the Quarians at bay, but they are regrouping. I estimate we have maybe 2 hours before they attack again. With a better strategy, you will not have to hold out that long. The 5th Expeditionary Fleet is entering the system now. 20 ships under Admiral James Aon Quo. They will reach your position in 40 minutes. Marcus felt relief wash over him. 20 ships would even the odds considerably. Thank you, Admiral. The Valari will not forget this, neither will the Galaxy, Captain. What you did today, going against orders to help people in need, that is what humanity should be known for. Not our strength, but our compassion. Hold the line a little longer. The transmission ended, and Marcus turned to his crew. You heard the Admiral. Reinforcements are coming. We just need to keep the Korthians busy for 40 more minutes. Commander Walsh looked at the tactical display. Sir, the Quarian fleet is moving into attack formation again. All 8 ships. This is going to be their main push. Then let's make them work for it. Rodriguez, I want you to target their communication relays again. If we can disrupt their coordination one more time, it will buy us the minutes we need. The Quarian fleet advanced in a carefully planned formation. They had learned from their previous mistakes. Now they moved in pairs, each ship covering the other. They varied their attack patterns, making it harder for the Horizon to predict their movements. Here they come, Rodriguez warned. Multiple missile locks. They are not playing around this time. Evasive pattern. Delta launch countermeasures and prepare for impact. The Horizon twisted through space as hundreds of missiles streaked toward it. The ship's point defense systems fired frantically, destroying missile after missile, but there were too many. Several got through, slamming into the Horizon's hull with devastating force. The ship shuddered violently. Alarms blared across the bridge. Marcus held onto his chair as explosions rocked the vessel. Shields down to 20%. Walsh shouted over the noise. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 5. Damage control teams responding. Return fire. Everything we have. Target their engines. If we can slow them down, we can survive this. The Horizon's weapons fired desperately. Rail guns launched projectiles at incredible speeds. Missiles streaked toward the Quarian ships. The human vessel was wounded, but still fighting with fierce determination. One Quarian battle cruiser took a direct hit to its engine section. The explosion was massive, sending the ship spinning out of control, but the other 7 kept coming, relentless and merciless. Captain, another wave of missiles incoming. Park warned. Marcus knew the Horizon could not survive another direct assault. The ship was too Damaged shields too weak. He made a desperate decision. Full power to engines. Take us directly at the Quarian flagship, sir. Walsh looked shocked. They expect us to run. We are going to do the opposite. Charge straight at them. It will confuse their targeting systems and buy us a few more seconds. The Horizon accelerated directly toward Commander Draxus's flagship, the Quarian. Commander watched in disbelief as the damaged human ship came straight at him. What are they doing? Draxus shouted. Are they attempting to ram us? Unknown. Commander, their trajectory is erratic. I cannot predict their next move. That was exactly what Marcus wanted. The Horizon weaved and jinked, moving unpredictably as it closed the distance. Korthian gunner struggled to track the fast-moving target. Shots went wide or hit empty space. 20 seconds to impact. Rodriguez called out, 15 seconds, 10 seconds at the last possible moment. Marcus gave the order. Full reverse thrust. Launch all remaining missiles directly at their bridge. The Horizon flipped end over end, its engines screaming as it reversed direction. Simultaneously, every missile the ship had left launched at point-blank range, directly at the Quarian flagships. Command center. Draxus saw the missiles coming and knew he could not stop them. All brace for impact. The missiles slammed into the flagship's bridge section. Explosions tore through the command center. Systems failed. Officers were thrown from their stations. Draxus himself was hurled against a bulkhead. Stunned and bleeding, the Horizon pulled away from the damaged flagship, its engine straining. Marcus looked at his crew. They were battered, exhausted, but still fighting. Status on reinforcements. 10 minutes out, Captain Park replied. Commander Draxus is hailing us, sir, Rodriguez said. Marcus straightened in his chair. Put him through. Draxus appeared on the screen. He was injured, blood running down his face, but his eyes burned with rage and something else. Respect. You fight well. Human, better than any opponent I have faced, but you cannot win. You are one damaged ship. My fleet will destroy you, and then I will turn this planet into ash. You are wrong about two things, Commander, Marcus said calmly. First, I am not alone anymore, and second, you will not touch this planet or its people. What do you mean you are not alone? As if in answer, space itself seemed to tear open. 20 human warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel in perfect formation. The 5th Expeditionary Fleet had arrived. Admiral James Akono and LT Uncan GT's voice boomed across all frequencies. Attention Korthian Fleet, this is Admiral Aenquo of the Earth Defense Force. You are ordered to power down your weapons and withdraw from the system immediately. Any hostile action will be met with overwhelming force. Draxus stared at the tactical display in horror. 20 fresh human warships against his 7 damaged vessels. The odds had shifted dramatically. Commander, we must withdraw, Krellel urged. We cannot win this fight. But Draxus was a warrior too. His core retreat was dishonor. All ships attack formation. We will not run from these dethers. Draxus, don't do this, Marcus said. You have already lost. There is no shame in preserving your warriors' lives. There is nothing but shame in defeat, Draxus replied. Quarian fleet attack. The 7 remaining Quarian battle cruisers charged toward the human fleet. It was a brave but futile gesture. Admiral Akono's ships met them with overwhelming firepower. The battle was brief and decisive. Human Ships fresh and undamaged tore through. The Korean formation, advanced targeting. Systems picked apart the enemy vessels. With surgical precision, the Korthians fought bravely, but courage alone could not overcome such a technological and numerical disadvantage. Within 20 minutes it was over. 5 Korthan ships were completely destroyed. The remaining 2, including Draxus' flagship, were so heavily damaged they could barely maintain life support. Cease fire. Admiral Jano ordered. Open a channel to the surviving Korean vessels. Draxus appeared on screen, defeated and broken. His ship was dying around him, fires burning in the background. Commander Draxus, your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces are surrounded. Surrender now, and I give you my words, your warriors will be treated with honor. Draxus looked at the human admiral for a long moment. He had never surrendered in his life. The concept went against everything he believed, but he also knew that continuing to fight would only result in more deaths. I yield, Draxus said quietly. The Korean forces surrendered to Earth on Villar Prime. Elder Savara and her people emerged from their shelters. They looked up at the sky, seeing human ships orbiting their world. The nightmare was over. They were safe. Captain Marcus Chin stood on the surface an hour later, having shuttled down with a diplomatic team. Elder Savara approached him slowly, her large eyes filled with tears. You came, she said simply, when no one else would help, when the entire galaxy turned away. You came. Marcus felt uncomfortable with the praise. We did what anyone should do. You needed help. But no one else did help, only humans. Only the species the galaxy fears, the ones they call dangerous and violent. You risked everything to save people you did not even know. Around them, thousands of Villari had gathered. They looked at the human crew with wonder and gratitude. These aliens had expected monsters based on what the galaxy said about Death Holders. Instead they found protectors. Captain Chin Savara continued, my people will never forget what you did here. From this day forward, Vara and Earth are allies. We may not have weapons or soldiers, but we have knowledge, art and culture too. Share whatever we can offer. It is yours. Admiral Akinquo arrived on the surface shortly after. He surveyed the damage to the Villari cities and immediately ordered human construction ships to assist with rebuilding. This is going to cause quite a stir in the Galactic Council, Akinquo said to Marcus. Privately, we just intervened in a sovereign system without authorization. Defeated a major military power. Some species will see this as an act of aggression, and some will see it as an act of protection. Marcus replied, Admiral, the galaxy needs to understand that humanity will not stand by while innocent people suffer. If that makes us dangerous, so be it. Akono smiled. Well said, Captain. I think Earth Command will agree. We are not looking to conquer anyone, but we will defend those who cannot defend themselves. The news of the Battle of Valera Prime spread across the galaxy within days. The reaction was mixed. Some species praised humanity's courage and compassion. Others feared what this meant for the balance of power. The Korean Dominion was shocked that their elite fleet had been defeated so decisively, but the most significant reaction came from the smaller peaceful species scattered throughout the galaxy, species like the Villari who had lived in fear of aggressive empires. They saw what Humanity did saw that someone was finally willing to stand up to the bullies. Within weeks, ambassadors from dozens of worlds arrived on Earth. They came seeking alliances, treaties, and protection. Humanity suddenly found itself at the center of a growing coalition of peaceful species who were tired of being victims. In the Galactic Council chambers, the human ambassadors stood before the assembled representatives. The chamber was enormous, filled with beings from hundreds of worlds. Some looked at the human with fear, others with curiosity, and a few with open hostility. The Council did not authorize Earth's intervention at Velara Prime. The chairperson said, "You acted outside galactic law." The human ambassador, a woman named Dr. Rachel Foster, stood tall. Galactic law said we should ignore a plea for help, that we should let millions die because intervention would set a bad precedent. I am here to tell you that humanity rejects that law. The chamber erupted in debate. Some species demanded sanctions against Earth. Others argued humanity had done the right thing. The Quarian Dominion is a sovereign power. One representative argued their internal affairs are not our concern. The Velari asked for help. Foster countered, they reached out to anyone who would listen. The fact that only humanity answered should shame us all. What is the point of this council if we only protect the strong and abandon the weak? You cannot protect everyone, the chairperson said. The galaxy is too vast. Then we will protect those we can, Foster replied firmly. And we will encourage others to do the same. Humanity proposes a new galactic initiative, a mutual defense pact for peaceful species. Any world that signs this pact will receive Earth's protection against aggressive invasion. The chamber fell silent. This was unprecedented. No species had ever offered such a thing. You would go to war to protect species you barely know? Someone asked. Yes, Foster said simply. Because that is what you do when you have the power to help. You use it for good. The debate raged for hours, but in the end a strange thing happened. The Council could not agree on sanctions against Earth. Too many species, especially the smaller ones, supported what humanity had done. For the first time, the Council was divided not by political blocs or economic interests, but by a moral question. Back on Earth, Captain Marcus Chen stood in his apartment looking out at the city. Below, his actions had changed everything. Humanity was no longer just another species trying to fit in. They had taken a stand, and the galaxy would never view them the same way again. His door chimed. Lieutenant Sarah Park entered smiling. Captain, you have been reassigned. Earth Command wants you to lead a new task force, the Humanitarian Response Fleet, 12 ships dedicated to answering distress calls across the galaxy. Marcus turned to her. They are making it official. They are. The Secretary General gave a speech today. She said that if the galaxy is going to call us Death Worlders, then we will use our strength to protect life, not destroy it. We will be the shield for those who cannot defend themselves. Marcus felt something settle in his chest. This was right. This was what humanity should be doing with its power. When do we leave? 3 weeks. But Captain, you should know something. 30 species have already signed the Mutual Defense Pact. 30 worlds now look to Earth for protection. That is a huge responsibility. It is, Marcus agreed. But someone has to do it, and if humans are as dangerous as the galaxy thinks. Let's be dangerous to those who prey on the weak on Vara Prime construction. Continued. Human engineers worked alongside Valeri architects, rebuilding the damaged cities, but they were not just rebuilding what was destroyed. They were building something new, something stronger. Elder Savara watched the work with quiet satisfaction. Her people were learning from the humans, not just about technology or construction, but about resilience and determination. We thought the galaxy was peaceful, Savara said to Dr. Whitney, who had stayed behind to help coordinate humanitarian efforts. We thought everyone shared our values. The galaxy has many good people, Whitney replied, but it also has predators. The difference is now those predators know there is someone watching, someone who will answer when the weak call for help. Why do humans do this? Tavar asked. You gain nothing from protecting us. You risk your lives, your ships, your reputation. Why? Whitney thought about the question. Because on Earth we learn something important during our evolution. The strong survive not by crushing the weak, but by protecting them. A society is measured not by how it treats its powerful, but by how it treats its vulnerable. Humanity may be strong, but we remember what it was like to be vulnerable. We remember the fear of predators, the struggle to survive. And we decided that if we ever had the power to help others facing that same fear, we would. Months passed. The humanitarian response fleet under Captain Chin answered distress calls across the galaxy. They stopped pirate raids, rescued stranded ships, and intervened in 3 more attempted conquests. Each time they demonstrated the same qualities that had won the Battle of Valera Prime: courage, adaptability, and an absolute refusal to abandon those in need. The galaxy was changing. The old powers that had dominated through strength and intimidation found themselves challenged not by military conquest, but by a simple idea that those with power had a responsibility to protect those without it. Commander Draxus, imprisoned on a human facility, watched these developments with complicated feelings. He had been defeated, humiliated, and yet he was treated better than he had ever treated his own prisoners. The humans had given him medical care, comfortable quarters, and even opportunities to study and learn. One day Captain Chin visited him. Why do you treat me so well? Draxus asked. I am your enemy. I tried to destroy you. You were my enemy, Marcus corrected. Past tense. The battle is over. You lost, but that does not mean you stop being a person deserving of dignity. I do not understand humans, Draxus admitted. You fight with terrible efficiency, but you show mercy to defeated foes. You are strong enough to conquer, but you choose to protect. Nothing I learned about warfare prepared me for you. Maybe that is the point. Marcus said, war should not be about domination. It should be the last resort. When all other options fail, and even in war, we should remember our humanity. What will happen to me, that depends on you. You can return to the Koran Dominion eventually, or you can stay here and learn a different way. Earth is offering education programs for Korean warriors, teaching them skills beyond combat. Some of your people have taken us up on the offer. Draxus considered this a warrior who was not a warrior. It seemed impossible, but then again, everything about humans seemed impossible until you saw them do it. I will consider your offer, Draxus said. Finally, as Marcus left the facility, he reflected on how much had changed. Humanity had answered an SOS signal from people they had never met. They had fought against overwhelming odds, and in doing so, they had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human, not monsters from a death world, not aggressive predators to be feared, but protectors willing to risk everything for those in need. Message was clear across the stars. If you sent an SOS signal, if you cried out for help in the darkness of space, humanity would answer, not with demands for payment or political advantage, but with ships, soldiers, and an unshakable commitment to defend the innocent. The Deathworlders had spoken, and the galaxy would never be the same.